Tonight, 4 American Special Operations Forces and their military dog wounded in Syria after their helicopter raid on a top ISIS leader ended in an explosion.
The troops and the working dog are in stable conditions, are being treated at a U.S. medical facility in Iraq.
The raid targeting ISIS senior leader Hamza al-Hamzi, who oversaw the group's deadly terrorist network in eastern Syria. But when the troops arrived, he detonated an explosive device, the blast killing him and wounding the Americans.
At least 53 civilians were killed in an attack in Syria's central desert province of Homs, state media reported on Friday, blaming the jihadist militant group Islamic State. The attack comes as the country is already recovering from the destructive earthquake, which killed thousands and left many injured. As per state media reports, the victims had been gathering dessert truffles when they were attacked. The bodies of all victims taken to the Palmyra State Hospital had gunshot wounds to the head, the state media added, citing the hospital heads.
A Russian frigate taking part in military drills is turning controversial in South Africa. The frigate also hosts the Zircon missile system. Russian President Putin earlier said that it has no equivalent. An opposition leader has slammed the South African government for allowing Russia to participate in these drills. South Africa, meanwhile, has refused to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine, saying that it wants to remain neutral. The Russian frigate Admiral Gorshkov is docked in the Cape Town harbour to participate in military drills alongside South Africa and China. This comes ahead of Moscow marking 1 year since it began the so-called military operation in Ukraine.
The return of a familiar chant. After weeks of calm, demonstrations in Iran have made a comeback. The timing of the protest is no coincidence. It marked 40 days since authorities publicly executed 2 men for their involvement in the protests. Some experts say a new phase in the movement has begun.
Bulgarian police have arrested 4 suspects in connection with a deadly incident of human trafficking. 18 people have been found dead in an abandoned truck near the capital, Sofia. Police believe they were asylum seekers from Afghanistan being smuggled into Europe illegally.
Videos of police smashing the car windows of Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko have gone viral online. Mr. Sonko was returning from a court hearing where he was supposed to be facing accusations of defaming a minister in President Macky Sall's government. The police pulled over Mr. Sonko's car and physically pulled him out of the car before escorting him home. This whole saga follows an earlier incident in the day during which law enforcement officers used tear gas to disperse protesters from outside the courtroom. The protesters believe that the judicial proceedings against Mr. Sonko are politically motivated.
Authorities say a lone gunman opened fire at multiple locations, including a gas station, convenience store, and a residential neighborhood. At least 6 people were killed. One of the victims was shot dead in her home. Her husband, who was also injured, said the shooter busted through their front door without warning, adding that he had never seen that man before. Arkabutla is where this tragedy unfolded. It is a small rural community with a population of under 300 people. It sits right near the border of Tennessee and Mississippi, roughly 45 miles from Memphis.
After weeks of uncertainty, today the US president got straight to the point.
We don't yet know exactly what these 3 objects were, But nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program.
Admitting America doesn't know what was shot down in the past week, but they were most likely private research devices. The US has been on high alert since detecting and destroying a Chinese spy balloon in its airspace 2 weeks ago. Once the FBI examined the wreckage, it confirmed that object did pose a threat to national security.
We are aware, however, that for others, any expression of remorse.
It is the judgment of this court for your conviction under the first count of the indictment that you be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
The world's oldest and most complete Hebrew Bible will go on display in London next week, before an auction in May where it could sell for up to £50 million. Billionaire investor Kenneth Griffin set the record in 2021 when he paid $43.2 million at a Sotheby's auction for a first edition copy of the U.S. Constitution. And if the 1,000-year-old holy book sells for near its estimated value, the Codex Sassoon would become the most valuable printed text or historical document ever sold at an auction.